Prometheus, my favorite castle.
You chained me to this rock and fed my liver to an eagle.
Out of love.
Oh, hi guys! I can't fucking... God damn it. Well, I tried. I tried. Alright. Welcome everybody to new Mythos and World Episode 2. Eastern mythologies, particularly speaking Hinduism, Shintoism, and Chinese. Lovely day, we're a bit late, but who cares? Here's and welcome everybody who's going to be seeing the stream now and in the future, blah blah blah. Let's get this over with. First up on the list is...
Guten Tag.
I'm not going to comment on you whatsoever.
Hey, I don't know how to say hi in Japanese. Or...
Listen, at least you could have done a half-assed attempt like I did. At least try, for crying out loud.
No, I am not. No, I don't want to culture appropriate. And I don't want to speak in weeb.
You disappoint me beyond measure. Well, okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I choose.
The gods claim it is a place of shadows and sadness. But what do the gods know of death? What do they know of me?
Konnichiwa!
I forgot that's also one. Also, I would have asked odds or evens, but knowing you would pick dots. Sorry, no evens. Anyways, finally, welcome a very special guest onto the stream. Welcome for the first time ever. You're a very lovely person. Very special person to me.
Jay Sakarisha. Namaste.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so one, that's good for you to join us. And two, really, Wolf, really?
Okay, no, wait, before you say anything else, I finally realized what I could say that. Mihao.
You finally realized the Chinese version of hello. Great.
I try, okay? And by try, I mean I don't try at all. I put as minimum effort as I can into anything. Like even breathing is a minimalistic effort. Anyways, what was that, Ninja? I couldn't hear you. What were you complaining about?
Oh, come on. You know what I was going to say.
No, I don't get it. I will get you. What's the problem here? I failed to the issue.
Tetsukawa is a dragon, not a waifu.
But why can't she be both?
It's a he.
Why can't the why? Listen. They're gods, okay? They can appear as whatever the fuck they want to.
I mean, in technicality of mythology of Quetzalcoatl, they actually can be a they/them kind of pronoun. Because they can be either male or female in actual mythology and in the Fate Stay Night lore. So.
Yeah.
Well, I have a prejudice against Fate Stay Nights.
All right, listen, we get it. You're the one man odd out on this entire street full of weebs. Congratulations.
Look, I am an old school weeb. I am not like the weeb that will enjoy. Oh, I will totally sleep with Arthur because now he's a chick because of this anime.
I mean, listen. I don't care if I am asked to sleep with King Arthur, I would fucking say yes, regardless of what it was.
I would say no.
Don't worry, there's still fake prototype.
I'd still fuck him.
All right.
So continue the format from last stream, except this time I didn't even bother. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I didn't even bother making a presentation because really the last time it worked well enough. So instead, we're going to be doing something unique. Pick a number between. So I'm going to do this. 1 to 2 is I'm going to roll d6. 1 to 2 is Hindu. 3 to 4 is Chinese, and 5 to 6 is
Okay.
All right. Doom.
Okay. All right then. So I guess I could. Okay, so I got a 6.
Oh, great. I'm
So-
gonna start. Oh no.
Oh, so we get to do the most well known one of the 3.
Yes,
Yes,
congratulations.
I
So first up on the list is Shintoism. So our forward last time was what is what is this mythology usually about? Good adaptations and the bad ones.
Heh.
So let's start off with how do we describe Shintoism?
Shintoism is the worship of nature spirits called kami. Uh, nature spirits can be anything: the moon, the sun, animals, mountains, landscape, anything.
Basically, nature
Yep.
that you connect to spiritually.
Yep.
If you ever have any kind of problem and you believe in Shintoism, blame the moon. The moon's the goddamn problem.
Wow! How dare you?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, because if you ever knows a lot of things, whenever it's a Japanese story, the moon's a fucking problem.
Well, yeah, because the moon is constantly pining for his waifu, who's constantly rejecting him because she banished him to the other side.
It's like she put it.
and the only time he catches up to her is when there's solar eclipses.
It needs to be unique. Talk about how people used to deal with the solar eclipses back then. Let's shoot fire arrows to reignite the sun.
They were terrified of solar eclipses.
Yeah. So my dad actually had a observation. Like he's not into like the mythology stuff as it, but when he heard about Japanese mythology, his thing, because we all. I am raised in a Christian household. I am a Christian, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing he kind of took an observation is that because of these nature spirits, the whole thing about Shintoism is essentially you're working in a way with the spirits. You're not, it's not like other mythologies where you're fighting against the spiritual realm, and it's not like separated, it's actually interconnected. You have to deal with it.
Sometimes these spirits can be benevolent, sometimes they can be completely neutral, and other times they could just fucking hate. They're just reprehensible beings.
Very malicious, in other words.
Like the Kappa.
Mm-hmm.
To put it simply best, yokai can be fucking assholes.
Like nature.
There's a bitch.
Which is no surprise.
Yeah, like if you ever watch a YouTube channel called Casual Geographic, you realize about some of the most screwed up things animals could do. Don't ask about the Adelie penguin.
Why?
You think that's bad?
Oh no, yeah. That's only tame, but it's still
You just remember, chimps eat the fuck out of monkeys.
Yeah, Adelie penguins.
Don't forget the Black Widow.
Yeah.
No, look at the mantises.
They're basically walking Epstein.
Oh.
And the women are actual. They are willing to sell themselves in that way, and even gyp the guys. Like Adelie penguin, like out of all the penguins, like the only other worst thing is the emperor penguin's mother occasionally can nuts other chicks when her chick dies. And then leave that chick. That's the only other worst thing. Most of the other penguins are fine, except for the Adelie one.
Yep.
But just remember. Actually, the interesting part about penguins becoming prostitutes. This is actually a thing that scientists found is that it's actually behavior in monkeys. Is that they will sleep with other monkeys for payment.
Well, yeah.
There's some other things, but we're going way off topic. So.
To put it simply short, prostitution is in fact the oldest profession.
And it's common also in yokai. And in yokai, if you ever try to pursue a prostitute, you get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Yokai can be yokai can range from the terrifying to the abnormal to the what? For example, the Yorkiyomo or something along those lines. I forgot. I
The
forgot
spider lady.
No, it wasn't it? No, there's something else. Fuck, what was it called? Yeah, I have the website open right here. I'm trying to remember. No, that wasn't it. It was another yokai. Hey, okay, that's a spider lady, but no, that wasn't it. What was its name? Oh,
Are you talking about the Hanako?
Tanaka?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the hooked hair woman?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Hanako.
The slit mouth woman?
No, it wasn't it. Hang on. Wait a minute, hang on. I think I remember telling somebody about this. Let me check. Because I remember that I specifically remember making mention of that.
Uh-oh. We activated Wolf Say.
Don't worry, give me like a hot minute.
Alright, we'll talk about other things, like...
Oh, no, found it.
Okay, good.
Okay, here it is. The Haradashi.
Okay.
The Haradashi is a yokai that is really benevolent. It goes around, and it usually resides in temples. This is what it does. If somebody comes into a temple, is feeling down, and you go in there, the Haradashi will treat you to a nice warm meal, bed, and sake. And to close out that night, it will expose its belly, where it has a very silly face drawn on it, and belly dance for you.
And is it a woman or a guy?
It's an elderly nun sometimes.
An elderly nun. Thank you
Yes.
for putting that image in my head.
No, I'm imagining that in Spirit Away. That
oh yeah, that's right.
Or House Moving Castle.
I watched.
Even though I have never seen any Studio Ghibli movie, even though I need to.
Don't worry.
I watched Spirited Away.
Don't worry.
Start with that one.
The Haradashi is actually fairly silly looking in artwork, and it's a very jovial yokai. It actually has a lot of fondness for sake.
Of course, it's always like some beer too.
Sometimes actually, it's usually some yokai just straight up oil thieves.
And there's also. I was not actually talking about that one. The Hanako is a yokai that happens to live in a girl's bathroom.
I heard about that one.
Okay.
The Hangako? Yeah, I heard about that one. It's a very perverted one where it's pretty much lingering outside the bathroom for a look.
There are actually references to it in games. The first one I ran into was in Majora's Mask. Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. And then there's a second. Yeah. Yeah, that's the hand in the toilet.
So somebody's literally pop a feet.
Wait, isn't it a shit stealer?
Not necessarily.
I'm still concerned.
That pause. Just that pause.
The fact that you didn't say not necessarily. The fact that it took you 4 seconds to say not necessarily is the concerning part.
Oh no! The Hanako in the Zelda series are completely and utterly benign. All they want is paper.
I hope, yeah, because it's made with more of a children's mindset. More of a children's mindset. But oh my goodness!
We are going to save some creatures on the yokai list for the Chinese part of this section because there's a very good reason why. We'll get into that later. Do not say it right now before I kick you off the stream entirely.
I was not going to bring up the kitsune. I was not going to bring those up because you're right. Those are at least partially Chinese. We'll get to those later.
Yeah, we'll get the first picture later. I'll also describe my profile picture and name choice later.
There are also, let's see, there's the woman that's been cut in half. I don't remember the Japanese name.
I don't remember that one. I know the slit mouth woman.
Yeah, she's terrifying.
Yeah, that's like the most recent one. It's
Let's.
Okay, it's called the Kuchijasuke Ona.
Yeah,
that's the Slipknot one.
yeah, that's the slip mouth woman. She's terrifying. You need, if you run into her, I think the answer is no
Yes.
answer at all.
Oh, that or
Because
yes.
she will ask if you think she's pretty.
If you answer no, she'll kill you. If she says yes, she'll reveal her mouth and then say if you still find her pretty. If you say no, she'll kill you. If she says yes, you'll end up looking like her. The usual way to divert her away is to say, you look average.
Yes. And then there's the woman who was cut in half. I don't remember which one that is. Something Ona, I think.
There's always an Ona. That's like the most common one. The most common thing. The most dangerous thing in Japanese mythology. Women.
Yep.
There's also like the sea creature. The
Uh,
giant under the sea.
Oh, speaking of sea creatures, you see, the Japanese strange thing with tentacles don't just end there. There's this one that linkers off an island. I forgot what it was called, but it was something. I just remember like, oh, this one's gonna be interesting to talk about. Just give me 1 second. I need to say your fine real quick.
mm-hmm.
Looking forward to what.
Okay, I'm just trying to. Okay, so here it is. What is it called? Okay, I don't think I listed it, but I remember making a joke because I was talking with a good friend about this. It's like, oh, because it's not a time period where no one will say, well, I've seen a hentai, you know this is going, I then brought up the fact that there actually was pornographic art at the time called shunga. So if you ever run into a tentacle monster in the OV campaign, you have full right to say, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Yeah, trying to remember the name of it. Yeah, then there's the Abu Miguchi. It is the stars belonging to a warrior who fell in battle. They are essentially the leftovers that suddenly came alive. They look this is an artwork of them.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my.
Interesting.
Imagination.
Picture. Yeah.
Once again, you can thank the Emperor of Japan for this.
Yeah.
We didn't need all this art, but hey, we got it.
How about we talk about the kami themselves?
Well,
there are plenty.
Yeah, there are plenty. I think the one I know the most about is Amaterasu.
Yeah, because she's like the head goddess.
It's a
and she's got her own game too.
Well, yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So keep your pants on, everybody.
Good luck.
If people are doing that for a dog, I'm.
And I mean, this is the internet.
Yeah, it is.
Do you not know what Rule 34 is?
I'm trying to keep as ignorant as possible, even though I know it exists.
That's Rule 34 of the internet. If they exist, then there's porn of it. Rule 35, if there is no porn of it will be made.
Mm-hmm.
People are sickos. People are strange, depraved. It's humanity.
Yes.
But yes, when it comes down to it's there are the pantheon's long. So I'll enlighten everybody with the creation myth. This one, now every single mythology has their own idea of how this world was created and how it would end. The Japanese interpretation of how, particularly speaking, their island was created was the heavenly Yari dripped a bit onto a piece of the ocean, and a bit of land was formed there. Upon that, Izanagi and Izumo, I think it was, descended onto that piece of land.
Izuma. Or
Izanami or Izanagi or the names that you gave before.
There are
just
both.
Depends.
No, Izanami and Izanagi are actually two different gods.
One is the goddess and their husband and wife.
Yes.
And then upon this creature's land, those two gods descend down onto that little piece of land and then fuck the rest of Japan into existence.
Yes.
And
I am not joking. They literally sucks the entire island in a piss.
So basically, normal mythology 101. So you get your horny point.
They did the opposite of Eldar.
Well, no, they basically did what the Eldar did. Instead of creating a god, they created humanity. But anyway, so they not only do that. Unfortunately, they also gave birth to gods or other kami, and one of them was a fire god.
And his birth killed Mama.
Yeah, so Izanagi was kind of depressed, so he decides, hey, let's go to the underworld.
Get her back. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Insert familiar.
So
unlike our Greek poet Orpheus, no, is it Orpheus?
There are a few, I think.
Orpheus. Okay, our Greek pal Orpheus. He's going to, instead of encountering a god, he encountered Izanami, but basically, she asked her, "Okay, I'll come with you. Except you have to not like something or look at my direction. Just
don't look behind yourself.
Don't look
forward.
Just guess what he did. Guess what he did.
Yeah, and
opposite.
And it turns out Izanami got
let's just say she looked worse than hell.
She got struck by a smooth criminal.
And no, I'm not talking about the place. I'm talking about the Norse goddess.
Ouch.
Yeah,
here's some eyes from.
Instead of just half of her body looking like a corpse, I think it was the entire body.
Yeah, she looked like a corpse.
She looked like an actual corpse with maggots and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was not pretty to look at, and I think she disgusted Izanagi.
Yeah, and she, so Izanagi just goes, run away like a Monty Python. Oh, yeah, it says we're doing Japan. Yeah, like Joseph Joestar from Responsibility. But also, that also ticked up Izanami.
Yes.
Rightly so.
And then, after Izanagi had ran away from his own wife, he sealed the entrance to the underworld with a giant boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decided I need to clean myself out of that filth. And thus, during the cleaning, a couple of stuff from his eyes and his nose comes out and formed 3 of our top gods, the top tier gods, Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and
Susanoo.
Yeah, Susanoo.
Yep.
And thus begins the crazy family drama, which is luckily, uniquely, Amaterasu became the top girl.
Yep.
unfortunately, she had to had a horrible breakup with Tsukuyomi. Hence,
And actually,
the movie.
let's actually detail about this little thing because as you all know, Japan at the time had a very staples of food, but you see, there's actually a bit of an interesting myth behind this. You see, once upon a time, depending on these interpretations, either this was Susanoo or Tsukuyomi, they were hungry. He demanded that Ukimoji, who was our food goddess, feed him. She pulled fruit from her mouth to feed him. He was pissed off, killed her, and then from her corpse came the following: millet from her ears, rice from her eyes, red beans from her nostrils, wheat from her genitals, and from her ass, soybeans.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
that sink in.
Mythology, you gotta love it sometimes.
Mythology is weird. Mythology is interesting, like how mythology is dirtier than people today.
And sometimes very horny.
There's one story where Amaterasu goes to hide in a cave, and guess what they have to do to get her out of it?
Fuck.
That's one of the interpretations, but also a goddess, I believe, of the dawn did a strip tease kind of dance. And
yeah.
Amaterasu came running out.
Yeah, mainly because of the racket. Like, she was like having her pity party.
Oh no! It was because she was getting a strip show that she came out.
Well, actually, it was so much that she decided to come, and then it was the mirror, the bronze mirror that kind of, because the bronze mirror becomes the 3 sacred treasures.
Oh
so.
yeah,
Yes.
the sacred mirror, a sword,
the Yata no Kagami.
Yep, and a sword name that is
the sword that cuts the burning grass. That's its English translation.
And how that came about was that after the striptease, the early morning excitement, she decided to banish Susanoo because the most common thing in all the tales of her hiding in the cave is because of Susanoo's fault. Because Susanoo has a terrible temper.
Right. And Susanoo is sticks.
Yeah, so he gets banished outside and basically told to wander around the land. So he just goes on a quest, and that's where he rescues a girl from Orochi. Very similar to a certain other Greek hero.
Hercules, we're looking at you.
No, it's actually Perseus.
Perseus.
Tomato. It doesn't matter.
It actually does because Perseus doesn't get killed at the end.
Just remember. Besides, we don't even know Perseus' actual name. Just remember that a lot of the names we got for the Greek heroes came from the Romans.
Yeah, but
we all know how well the Romans sometimes took to certain Greek heroes.
Yeah, but okay, so he defeated Orochi by giving it lots of sake. He got it drunk, and then he killed him. And then he got a sword out of his tail.
And that's where the sword that cuts the burning grass, or a kusanagi, came from.
Yep. And basically, as I'm sorry gift, he gives it to Amaterasu, who then essentially the 3 sacred treasures. I don't know the story behind the Yamata. I think it's just part of her. It was always part of her. She gives it to her son. She gives birth to the emperor. I don't know who. She probably slept with a guy because.
How plebeian to think that a goddess needs a man.
Well, she gave birth to a man.
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah. But essentially that happens, and now the sacred treasures are basically stuck in Imperial storage room.
Yep.
like those are like the big ones when it comes to Japanese mythology. Like in terms of gods, they're not as pervasive as like the Norse or
the Greeks
Greek.
and the Romans.
Yeah.
Especially the Romans.
Well, the Romans just like copy and paste.
That's more like the Greeks.
Though they're certainly not as bloody as the Mayan and Aztec people.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Blood for the blood god, baby.
Skulls for the skull throne.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and so that's also a summary of Mesopotamian mythology. Once we ever get to that, that's gonna be cool.
That's essentially
That's gonna be my part.
Right,
I am a huge fan of Mesopotamian.
I'm not gonna list the American. I'm just literally gonna title the American episode as "Blood for the Blood God, Skull for the Skull Throne."
Yeah,
because that's the best way to describe it.
First off,
the Americans have some very interesting monsters too.
Native American mythology is just here's every way you're fucked.
Yeah, and and here's how a normal person deals with nature, much like Japanese. So I think like the next one is like, what does media get right?
All right, okay, so actually, how do I do the universe? Well, so what media can we list to that has done Shintoism correct and has given monetary respect to it?
That's easy. Okami.
I was gonna do this and fucking. Okay, before you start listing your mouth off at red, I'm instead gonna roll a d. I'm gonna be rolling. I'm gonna roll d4. Okay. Whoever lands on gets to speaks up first. Oh hey, look at that! It's a 1.
So it's you.
Of course. Of course. So the first game, actually, for me, when it comes to mine, is somewhere online that it's kind of really not Shintoism. It's actually more like it does its own little thing, and that's Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Where the entire premise is Sakuna's the child of a rice goddess and of a harvest goddess and a war god, and it's interesting to get their take, and it's quite an interesting tale. Well, the entire game is essentially a welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker. Is the best way to describe it. But it's a very simple tale about perseverance and becoming better for it. Alright, next is Naf.
Alright.
You know exactly which one I'm gonna
bring out the dog!
You know, you should change your profile picture to a comic before you came on here.
Oh, I should have. I don't think I have a picture.
Here, let me remedy that. So yes, go on.
Nope, I don't have a picture of her. Damn.
Speak!
Well, Okami is let's see if I can remember this correctly. I never actually finished the game. Okay, so the premise of Okami is that prayer to the gods is not happening. And Amaterasu has to go around as
that's well an Okami.
Yeah, she's a wolf.
It actually also depends upon which interpretation you're going for. Because there's Okami, then there's Ro.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Legend of Zelda. It's a Legend of Zelda type game that has a lot of that is steeped in Japanese mythology. I haven't played it at all, but I know what it is.
Okay, now next up, Demonica and Ninja, odds or evens?
Evens.
Oh, looks like I'm odds.
Okay. Guess what it rolled?
4.
7.
Okay, come on.
And Monica, you get to speak.
Good. Okay.
So
Sorry,
it's
Ninja,
me.
you go last. That's yes. What experience have you experienced that has portrayed Shintoism in a light has portrayed Shintoism really well? That could be anything. It could be a book, it could be an anime, it could be a manga, it could be a TV show, it could be a movie, it could be a goddamn visual novel. I don't give. Just list something.
So where I could have read about Shintoism? Well, unfortunately,
There we go.
the bookworm me does not have much of a Shintoism as collection, but I do remember in middle school that I read a book series that did involve the nature-esque of Shintoism, especially with like how nighttime, when nature seems to be at its quietest, many things start happening more than in the daytime. Is much more like a murder mystery story. I can't remember it much. It was all the way back in middle school. But I just remember how ethereal the authors, yes, 2 people worked on this series. They made nature ethereal at night. In the daytime, when people are out and about doing their normal everyday things, you don't realize how much of an impact nature had on the whole village at large until you see it for yourself. And well, that's not saying that everybody that believes in Shintoism can see nature spirits, but it's the spirits of nature are there. They're always watching, they're always listening, and they're always adapting to how humans adapt to their environments.
So they're exhibitionist.
They never mentioned any exhibitionists, thank you. And I'm glad they didn't, especially for a middle schooler like me, that'd be scarring. It was just these phenomenons that would happen to the main character, really, whether it's for help or malevolent.
All right then. Now, finally, Ninja.
So I would say in general, anime does a ton of stuff with Shintoism. There's like references up to wazoo, but though my choice, like the number one, I just realized something. My favorite Japanese RPG of all time, and I changed my avatar to it. Persona 4. It's literally treated as a sequel to the Izanagi-Itsunami myth. And if you didn't know that, I'm sorry, spoilers.
I'm not spoiling it. You fuck her before I kill you.
But that's like the core of the story.
I don't give a shit. You better shut your goddamn mouth.
But you're also still using mythological characters and creatures from all mythologies to fight monsters, to rescue people.
Again, that's Persona in a nutshell.
Well, not so much rescuing in like other games. It's usually just there to fight monsters. It's the context is different.
Yeah, the context is different, but you just use mythological monsters anyways. Yeah,
but Persona 4 is like the mythology aspect is like spoiling for a what's she minus 10 is 14-year-old game. 14-year-old game.
That was your first one. And maybe 14 years old, but I still want to experience on my own goddamn terms.
You could get it on PC now. How are you not? Okay,
do you really want to ask that question again?
All right. Anyway,
leave it alone.
next.
Next up, terrible interpretations of Shintoism.
I know there are a few. There have to be a few because there are some that are actually good at it. Most of them are crappy.
Anime. Just say anime. What is good interpretation? Anime. What is bad interpretation? Anime.
Wait, actually, Bonbon, for somebody who really loves Inuyasha, I'm surprised you didn't bring that one up.
Inuyasha.
Oh,
Especially with the Shikon jewel being one of the 3 sacred treasures in actual Japanese mythology. However, the jewel does not work that way as it does in Inuyasha. Inuyasha is a misinterpretation of the sacred jewel.
well, then I suppose Inuyasha works as something that does it badly?
I would say it fits a lot more the middling line.
Yeah.
Technicality.
It's
and also,
technicality because it gets stuff wrong.
and actually, I also put in the no games and the good interpretations because it's Sengoku era, but let's take all the gods and spirits and whatnot and then turn them into spirits, I guess.
Another thing, Inuyasha, the main villain, Noraku, is technically a Juragumo in Japanese mythology. However, the Juragumos are mostly female instead of male.
And usually they're attractive.
But yes, Noraku is still handsomely attractive. I'm sorry, but even though he's a villain, I still love him. His hair is everything, and that eyeliner.
I feel threatened by this person. I want to go kill him now.
All right. All right. You can join your waifu in the Black Pearl soon.
No, actually, I'll just steal his hair. Actually, I'll just steal his hair.
Man, that took a while to sink in.
and maybe kill him for good measure.
He's already dead, technically.
Then I'll resurrect his ass, steal his hair, and then kill him again.
Well, then you still got other competitions like Shishomru, who is a full demon dog Daiokai lord, and then Kirimaru, who is an actual god.
That I'm gonna steal his goddamn blood. I'm gonna turn to full on Matsunaga Hisahide. I'm going around and steal everybody's shit, both physical and metaphysical.
All right.
Koga's pretty good looking too.
I know, right? That ponytail is everything.
All right. I'm grabbing the reins on this ship.
Okay, Steve. I got a lot of people I need to steal from.
All right, Wolf. All right, I get it. You're jealous for your waifu. Speaking of jealousy,
I'm not jealous. I'm just asserting my dominance.
Yeah. Speaking of jealousy, it is one of the sins you have to avoid in Hinduism.
Well, not on Hinduism yet. Mm-hmm. But because of the fact we're currently coming up with blank on Shintoism, I guess we can invite this off that Shintoism is a mostly relatively unmolested.
It's probably molested, but it's not. It's quite.
There's just nothing that we can.
There's too many. That's the problem. It's everywhere in Japanese media. It's everywhere. It's not like in like the West when like it's like with Greek mythology where it's like you can have clear examples of like, okay, this story is like the one of the few that deals with Greek mythology. How does it do? Or this is the one that deals with Norse. This deals with the Egyptian. No, it's basically in every.
Yeah, it's
like the writer is just like, I'm out of ideas to add for a villain for my action superhero series. Let's just grab a yokai.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, now we got that something out of the way. So let's move on to something else. Mm-hmm. So on the top is Hinduism, and on the bottom is Chinese. Hindus, pick a number. Any number.
4.
7 again. We both went the same number.
Okay. Right then, Neff, pick a number.
I'll go with 8.
I'm going with
The
12.
infinity number.
Okay.
Oh! I rolled a 17!
What number generator are you rolling? A D20?
Exactly.
Yes, I'm rolling a D20.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Should have asked.
Anyways, so that means next on the topic is Chinese.
When you want to know who we are.
Okay, so I guess I get to finally explain my profile picture now. So, within Chinese mythology, there exist the four gods, or rather 5 gods, but there's 4 technically. And I'm going to list them all by their Japanese name, but also use their actual name. The one currently I'm using as my profile picture is Seiryu, god of the West Wind, the Azure Dragon. Because in Japanese, the 4 gods protect Tokyo from a direction. And
Oh yeah, I remember those. There's Seiryu, Byaku, Genbu, and
Suzaku.
Suzaku. Yes, Suzaku. Yeah.
But there's actually a 5th one. There's Suzaku, the Vermilion Bird, god of the South Wind, Genbu, the Black Tortoise, god of the North Wind, and Byaku, the White Tiger, god of the East Wind. The one in the center is the Golden Dragon, otherwise known as Uryu, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. These are the 4 gods, and this is just one of many, many, many goddamn tales. Which actually leads me to another tale I'm going to discuss, and that is the tale of the koi and the dragon. But really, it's more of the dragon carp, which I have right here. Now then, if you ever heard of Magikarp, then I'm going to simplify this in the most simplest in a way possible. As you all know, Magikarp is a terrible Pokemon, but its evolved form is absolutely devastating. This is because this is the tale of the carp and the Dragon Gate. And there's this waterfall in China, and then there's this school of either rainbow carp or golden carp who try to ascend it. Over the course of several generations, they try to ascend it, until finally one day, one carp succeeds, and for its perseverance, the gods reward it by turning it into a dragon.
Yep. That's where Gyarados comes from.
And that is also why the Mega Evolved form of Gyarados is a full-blown dragon. And because, technically speaking, Gyarados is not a dragon. It is a dragon koi, which is the middle point between a koi and a dragon. And actually, this is why most dragons in Eastern mythology have scales that resemble fish, as well as whiskers.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, technically speaking, all dragons come from carp. They ascended to become dragons.
Yep.
That's why the carp is one of the most symbolic things ever. And it's also establishing, because they're currently these are the following 3 most powerful things in China and the Eastern mythology: the dragon, the tiger, and the Kirin. The dragon is the symbolism of wise and precise strength. The tiger is ferocious and without fear, and the Kirin is benevolent, but is strong enough to kill a goddamn dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, the name Kirin is Japanese. The actual name of the creature in question is called a Qilin, which is actually Chinese for giraffe.
Yeah. Did you know that the Japanese named a giraffe after a Kirin because of how weird it looks, and the horns on his head just remind them of a Kirin?
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yep. But yeah, this is because while the dragon in truth is a symbol of the emperor, the Kirin is the symbol of a benevolent ruler. It only appears when there is peace and only underneath the benevolent ruler. The Kirin never harms a single goddamn thing. Yep. Not even the tiniest bug.
Not even the grass itself.
It is that goddamn peace loving. It is the ultimate hippie. But like most hippies, when pointing out for its hypocrisy, it will fuck you up.
Yep.
Joking, but it will screw you up. It will fuck you up because it will defend itself. Just because it doesn't harm it's a pacifist. But you can't spell pacifist without the word fist.
Fighting for a pacifist is always a last resort.
Yep. Now then, there's another myth regarding the strongest animals. That's the dragon and the tiger myth.
Mm-hmm.
It is stated, and I don't know from where, but if the dragon and the tiger were to ever clash, the world will shake whenever they do.
So that's where earthquakes come from.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because the dragon and the tiger are the two most powerful beings on heaven and earth.
Yep.
Yes, but of course, due to this, the dragon and the tiger will never beat the other. For if one of them does, the world will fucking end.
Ooh, ow.
And so no matter how many times a dragon and a tiger fight each other, it will always end in a stalemate. Because, and also speaking, to be able to harness both the power of a dragon and a tiger is to harness both of their greatest qualities. To harness the ferocity of a tiger and the wisdom of a dragon. Now moving on to the one that that Neff mentioned earlier, Kitsune.
Mm-hmm. There are two types. There are the good kitsune, and then there are the bad kitsune, and they have different names. One's the Tenno, I believe, and the other is I forget what it's. God, I forget what the other one is. One's malicious and one's not. That's all you really need to know. And the kitsune are fox spirits with 9 tails. Or, well, no, the fox spirits that have 9 tails are 1,000 years old.
They get a new tail once every 100 years.
Yes.
Yes, but unfortunately, it's sometimes said that the fox cannot live past 1,000 years, and that's why there's only 9 as a limit.
That's true.
And all kitsunes are trolls.
They love mischief.
Yeah, They do. But some of them are maliciously mischievous. Some of them are not.
Yep.
Also, I'm going to cycle something back over to Shintoism. Tanuki are clever, mischieving, and have giant testicles that are malleable.
Yeah.
They can set up a shop stall, and it's like, wait, where'd it come from? It came from their balls. It is their balls.
And to refer back to the names of the two types of foxes, the Zenko, possibly that is their name, interpretations of their names come in many ways and throughout translations in many languages, especially English. But for now, we'll go with Zenko for the good foxes and Yako for the mischievous ones, malevolent ones.
Yes. Sounds good to me. There is one such myth that is actually Chinese about let's see, what was her God damn it, what was her name? She's a fake character. I should know her name.
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Fox girl.
Oh, you mean Tamame no Nome?
Yes, her.
Tamamo. She's an interesting tale.
Yes, she is.
Okay. So, Tamamo is fucking old. And here's why. Because first she originated... Actually, it's the bay where... Actually, this is the part. She's either originated from in China or somewhere along... Or somewhere close to India. Yeah, but either way, she was in the China area. And that is... she was a fox spirit that lived for a long time. She went around the land and getting relationships and then pretty much harnessing spirits, and then she left, never returned, and then popped back up in Japan as a young child. She then proceeded to get really close to the Emperor, and then one day she was found out.
Yeah.
Because the Emperor was dying, and so they expelled a spirit, because she was supposed to help do the experiment, because if there is that nobody is pure heart could be an evil, malevolent being. Turns out she was. And she was never seen again.
Oh no, my boy toy. I can't be with my boy toy. Time to jump off the cliff.
No, it was because the ritual banished her.
Yeah.
Oh.
She performed a ritual, and needless to say, it banished her.
So she went to the Shadow Realm.
No, she became a part of the blockchain. I'm saying yes.
And what was her color? Like her fur color. What would you say her fur color would be?
I don't know if Faye got it right, but I think she was orange. I don't.
Because there's another thing about the kitsune. Once they reach 1,000 years of age, which is very rare, it is hard to cultivate into a nine-tailed kitsune, even if you do become 1,000 years. But once they reach that age, they become a tenko, which is a heavenly celestial fox, and the fur turns into a golden color. So if her fur was like a golden orange, she's a heavenly person, a heavenly fox.
That would mean they screwed up bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
No mandate of heaven for them. Mandate of heaven is against them, which, by the way, is part of their mythology. The whole concept of mandate of heaven.
Oh, don't get me started. You're gonna get me on the entire... Do not get me fucking started. I will go into the entire Yellow Turban Rebellion on this shit. You think I'm joking? No, I did my fucking research on the entirety of the Three Kingdoms era.
I know, and I've heard you talk miles upon miles about the Three Kingdoms before. Oh, dear.
But it is a crucial point of, you don't have to talk about the historical context, but essentially they developed a history where it has become the concept of essentially to explain why certain kings or certain emperors got dethroned. And they came up with this idea of it was mandated by heaven because they didn't perform a good ruler. Because one of the things about Chinese culture is all about knowing your place.
Confucianism.
Confucianism. But it's essentially you stay in your place, you don't rock the boat at all. Otherwise, bad things happen.
Yeah.
And then some Taoist person said, lol, let's review it. Some Taoist guy went, hey, they lost the mandate of heaven. Let's make the yellow heaven real. I can literally tell you that's kind of how it went.
And they were overthrown because they forgot their place.
Well, and also they were eunuchs. This is the best way to sum up how every Chinese dynasty ended. First, they prospered. Then the emperor died, leaving his son, leaving a child to rule, and then it was led to a bunch of fucking eunuchs, and then the eunuchs began ruling the country, and then there's a civil war, then a new dynasty begins.
Well, technically, it wasn't just the eunuchs, it was the harem. Basically, you assemble a harem, and you get the worst ending for a harem anime ever.
It's some political court mishmashing that caused pretty much everybody to suffer. Cue a horrible era, then it's civil war, and then a dynasty, and a new dynasty comes to replace it. Rinse and repeat for well over a million, for over a millennia. That's China.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just living currently. China's just going through a very long dynasty.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but I also think I forgot to mention this part. Now then, when people tell you that the best way to recognize any kind of Asian dragon is by the number of claws it has, and they say that Chinese are 5, Koreans are 4, and Japanese are 3. This is something that is strange too, because technically speaking, the number of claws isn't something that's unique to each one of these. This is actually, well, not unique to Korean and Japanese. This is actually a thing that's borrowed from Chinese. Because dragons were kind of universal. They were no longer just independent to the emperor. That's why the Kirin was made. So the dragon the dragons had varying numbers of claws to indicate greatness. If you had 3 claws, you were common. You were that great. You were the least great thing in existence. 4 means you were pretty high up. You were strong. People are important. 5 is 5 claws is the greatest. You are the most important thing in here.
You're the Chad.
Yeah.
No, you're the Shad.
No, Shad is 6 claws.
Oh, yeah, which is why there aren't any, because...
There can only be one Shad.
Yeah.
And that is how... So, technically speaking, that means, in this order, China thinks they're the greatest, Korea thinks they're the second most greatest, and Japanese thinks they're the worst.
Well, at least the Japanese are humble.
Yeah, the Japanese are a humble people.
And then they later readopted that and then they later understood the actual original concept, the number of claws, and then now it's changed to resemble that.
Yeah.
But their own interpretations was that but it didn't matter, because here's the thing: a dragon was still a very powerful thing, no matter the number of claws it had. It's just that the 5 was the greatest the dragon could be.
Because you could say they're the connections between the many different worlds, the human or earth plane, the heavenly plane, and then the underworld. They're mostly associated with heaven because, as you said, they're powerful creatures and they deserve to be revered and respected throughout every means possible.
And
so
also,
you pretty much see dragons everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
Doo-doo.
And dragons are not just common to the East. Of course, our Western dragons are different, and we can get into that a different day.
And
We
yeah,
can
that'll
make
be
a
us.
whole episode about dragons and all of that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different varieties and types.
I'm just gonna let Dunn know I'm gonna rip off one of his streams. Just gonna say, hey, I'm gonna rip off your dragon stream. Okay, thanks. Because that's an interesting thing. Because you have the Eastern dragon, and then you have the Western, and you have the Western dragon. Eastern dragons are revered, respected, and are seen as intelligent and wise beings. Western dragons are assholes.
And
they love
weird.
treasure. So much treasure.
Not just that, but they like pretty ladies too.
This is the Western dragon. This is the Western dragon philosophy. Step 1, burn shit. Step 2, steal gold. Step 3, get a harem.
Oh no! It's step 1, steal the gold. Step 2, burn everything down, and step 3 is get the lady. It's pillage, then burn,
and then happy time.
Yeah. Get it right, Wolf.
Oh,
you
sorry.
can't pillage if things are already burning.
I beg to differ. As an old art philosophy.
Oh my god.
All right, so okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember one other thing. Right. And okay, I can't think of anything else relevant for Chinese mythology. So,
well, of course, there's the most famous Chinese mythology story.
My Sun Wukong.
Yeah, of course, the Journey to the West.
Forget that, man.
Man. Well,
And we were just talking about that.
Okay, listen. Okay, now listen here. You forget who has the nuke button. Do you always press the nuke button? I will nuke all of you out of existence.
Not our fault.
Nope.
And also, I'm going to play something real quick. Okay. Give it a bit.
Oh, yay, you're using this.
Yep. Is this a signal volume for everybody?
Yep.
Because Streamer has a new feature, background music.
Oh, cool. I'll probably...
And it's free!
Oh, cool. That's doubly so.
Yeah, meaning that even the free users get to use it.
Yep. Okay.
Actually, you guys choose, because currently I'm playing Night Driving. There's Accusa Cinematic, Daydreaming, or Lo-Fi.
I think we're good for now. Well, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Alright then. So, that's kind of... So, I'm gonna transfer this a bit over to the people who know a bit more, because we're gonna delve into a bit of Buddhism now. Actually, you know what? No, let's save Buddhism for last.
Yeah.
Because I think we're talking about Chinese mythology.
Yeah, like, essentially the only other thing is how they structure their heavenly realms. Which is basically bureaucracy.
We can actually talk about heavens another time. So instead, I'm going to yeet the temple over to the two on top. You two, let's talk about the hint. Oh, right. Fuck. Right, bring it back. So go to the Chinese mythology. Yeah,
I have very little exposure to Chinese mythology, other than, like, you could say Dragon Ball, but that's like...
That's a whole other topic entirely. So actually, I take it back. Let's not cover that. We will probably have to culture ourselves in order to grind social credit points later.
I mean, the best you can get things on Chinese mythology and all of that is with manga, the Chinese manga, martial arts especially.
Oh, actually, I do know one story of Chinese mythology reasons. Ganye and Moye. Or, no, Guan Yu. No, where's it Guan Yu? No, fuck, what's his name? Go, hang on.
Yes, we were totally prepared.
No, it's Gan Jiang and Moye.
We're professionals.
Actually, enough, you would remember this tale because you know the swords Archer has?
Archer?
Yeah.
Oh, Byakuya and what was the other one?
Byakuya and Kushak. Byakuya.
The black and white swords? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kansho, I think it was called. Byakuya and Kansho.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kansho and Bakuya.
Yep.
Yeah. These two were forged by the blacksmith couple Danjiang and Moye, who made those swords in the first place. The tale was actually quite a tragic one. It was a blacksmith couple that was pretty much famous for their swords. One day the emperor asked them to make him a pair of swords, and they ran into a problem. They couldn't light the forge. In a rather heartbreaking act, Moye sacrifices herself in order to start the forge, and the resulting sword is pretty much her soul. Oh.
So, Katana from DC?
No. It's John. Or it's either a John or it's because I think the Chinese swords are either a John or a Dou. Or sorry, no, John or Dao. John being double-edged sword and Dao being a single-edged sword. Yeah, most blades actually are either a Dao or a John. So whichever one they choose these were, Ganjing presented to the Emperor, and the Emperor didn't like it. And then it began a kind of a bit of a strange tale where Ganjing took a bit of his revenge on the Emperor, and then in his final act, killed himself, and became the other sword.
You didn't like my sword that my wife literally gave her life, so I'm gonna kill you.
No, it was even worse, because simply speaking, his wife was the sword.
Yeah.
And that is why, actually, the swords Archer has always fight back to one another. They're always seemingly curved around each other. Because it is the two lovers always together, no matter what.
They literally sacrifice themselves to make this sword. I am pretty sure they'll stick together through anything.
Yep.
fact, actually, they even appeared once in a MOBA game where it is actually some heartwarming animations between them. But yeah, that's the tale of God and Chicken Moye, and we'll actually talk about blacksmiths another time. Because that's a whole
Blacksmiths are always giving you double-edged swords.
And here's this cool sword, man. It will kill anything. What's the drawback? It makes you infertile.
It makes you want to kill yourself.
There are swords that do that, yes.
With mythology, anything is possible.
And anything you cut with this blade will also cut you. What?
Or you become an Adelie penguin.
And using this sword will turn you into a Shota. I'm gonna make a sword idea now where it's just, here's all these people that are given a sword that does something weird to them. It's like the most bizarre thing ever.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, so...
Take the sword, it will give you a harem.
There are swords in mythology. There's so many stories and so many versions. We'll get to that some other time.
Okay, so Ninja,
Yes.
Ninja, here. So, Ninja, Mon, catch.
Okay, so Hinduism. So Hinduism is the core thing is a thing called Brahma, and Brahma is essentially the one soul, and humanity as a whole, each individual, are just individual souls that desire to be in the one souls, and then the gods exist because for the sake of Brahma.
I thought it was Dharma.
No, Dharma is different. So Dharma is how you get to Brahma. So Dharma is all about knowing your place in life and fulfilling all your decisions fulfilled based on your Dharma, which is your social class, your ability, all that stuff that made the caste system in India. But so the whole thing, in terms of their gods, they believe that there's a creator god whose job was to create the world, and he created the ages. Basically, they view time as one big cycle, about like 4.5 million years, and after that cycle ends, the world gets destroyed and get renewed. So and according to them, we're on the basically we're waiting at the countdown for the apocalypse to happen to get the world renewed. And they believe in this.
I thought that was gonna be on. Was it?
That's
the Mayan calendar. My bad.
Yeah, well, it's similar. It's a similar belief.
Similar story, yeah.
Like, remember, this is in mythology. There's a lot of similar stories.
Yeah, we'll get to the Mayan thing next time.
We'll set that on the back burner for now.
Yeah, but so the whole biggest thing that differentiates Hinduism from other mythologies is the way they do multiple gods, and the whole idea of the one eternal soul that gets they use a different term, but it's essentially reincarnation based on karma. So anything you did on this life will come back to bite you in the next life. So you're
be good or else.
Be good before I smite thou.
Yeah, and the goal is for the soul is to reach like Muska, I think is the name, or something like that, where you connect the different aspects of Dharma following the teachings of Hindu, like full on, so that your soul will be released into the one big soul of Brahma, even if there's a Brahmin. Like, there's another guy named Brahma.
Yeah, that's Brahma, the first god of the Trimurti, or the Trinity of the gods. That pretty much like in the first three. Yeah,
so you got Brahma, who's the creator, and then you got Vishnu. who's like the main. He's like, his job is basically he gets incarnated multiple times as protector and always correcting. Like that's where you get Krishna. But then you got Shika, who's like
Shiva.
Okay, Shiva, who's the guy who has whose main job is to destroy things, and also at the end of time dance the world to death.
Yes, Shiva is really the
apparently
dancer.
his dance move is so bad that it destroys the world.
I would like to think of it as breakdancing, because it was so good that it destroyed the world.
Mon, not gonna test to you what I did that qualifies as breakdancing.
Yeah, but so essentially it's a similar thing to China about learning your place, like in terms of practical what they use the mythologies and what the stories usually revolve around is that a person is either the hero is somebody who follows what his dharma is. So one of the most famous ones is Rama. I think is the guy's name. Let me check. Yeah, Rama, in the tale of the Ramayana. And basically it's about a prince who follows his dharma path as like a son, where he has to give up his throne because his father told him to, and then as a husband rescuing his wife, and also questioning his wife whether she slept with titans when she got kidnapped for a year. She didn't. She literally threw herself into a fire, by the way, to prove that she's innocent. Which, by the way, the Bible has an easier way to doing it. It involves swallowing some flowers, like some bitter flower that would have bloated her. But no, they had to do the fire one.
Before the Bible was a thing.
Actually, probably around the same. Like by the time of the mythology, like it's complicated.
Yeah.
Just insert it's complicated.
It's complicated, okay?
Yeah, it's complicated. It's kind of true and whatever.
So, also, Rama is one of Vishnu's avatars, the seventh one.
Yeah. And also a common thing with the Trinity, they get two consorts, not wives, consorts. And by the way, there are also some of them are aspects of the goddess Devi, and one of them is Durga, who's like a warrior goddess who killed a buffalo demon.
Yep. So the buffalo demon was a special one because he could regenerate pretty quickly, as well as his head. I believe he only did that once, though.
He can also there was another one where Kali, another aspect of Durga, nearly destroyed the world because battling an army of clones, and she nearly danced the world to death. And then her hubby decided to make a quote-unquote sacrifice place to convince her, no, it's not your turn yet. It's my turn when it comes. Yeah, so like that's like the briefest thing on Hindu mythology that I did a little research on. But there is a game I played that told stories of.
We'll get to that.
There is stuff that I learned from it. Like there was a story about how some goddesses came from eggs, and like reincarnation was a thing. Multiple life. I forget the exact details, but yeah, it's usually all about whether a person is following the rules or not.
Because again, following the rules ties back into karma.
Yep.
And that's tied into Shintoism too.
Yep, like that's a thing. If you want to take something today, a lot of Eastern mythology, that is what they are concerned about, is following the rules.
I feel as if I
Following the
wake up
rules
one
to a
day
major T.
I feel as if one day if I don't follow the rules, suddenly I'll have my forehead obliterated.
Or you die and you become a person who will get who will get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Or you become a poorer person who gets beat up on.
Or you might become a person of a higher caste, even if you were good enough, quote unquote.
Yeah, but then you screw up and then you become lower.
Yeah.
Like, that's the major pitfall.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, along with the gods and the heroes of mythology, they tie into the many rituals and festivals of the Hindu people. Like Rama Navami celebrates the birth of Rama. You also have Krishna Janmashtami, celebrates the birth of Krishna. And there's also even one called Vasant Navaratri. That's the Hindu festival of worship and dance.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite has to be the Mahashiva Ratri, the Great Night of Shiva. Because, of course, Shiva is one of my favorites. Even though he's a destruction god. He dances. Who doesn't like a dancer?
Apparently he danced too good that it caused the apocalypse.
It's worth it. Get to see a god dance. Come on.
No, I'm knowing how some gods dance, no thanks.
Yeah.
So you're saying when the Japanese maidens, the goddesses, and all of them dance, it's fine. But when the Hindus start dancing, there's a problem?
No, listen. We all want to dance, but sometimes some people shouldn't dance. I am one of those people who I'm pretty sure if I was invited to a club bed for dancing, would be blacklisted and said if I ever get caught on premises again, I will be killed on sight.
My man Shiva, they don't appreciate you, but I do. Don't worry.
And then there are the fierce Oni. Can't forget those.
What are those again?
They are Oni that protect against evil.
Really?
But here's the thing.
That's Isn't that a
that-
Japanese thing?
Actually, it comes from Hindu.
Okay.
Also on the topic of Onis, never let an Oni get their hands on a metal kanabo. Because after that point, they become virtually unstoppable.
Where is that in the mythology?
It's because Oni particularly have a fondness for lightning.
And clubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to get them metal, because then they become unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it also on the topic actually of Oni. Two of the gods in Shintoism are Onis. It's Fujin and Ryujin.
Yep. Or
Ryujin.
or as people in the West knows one as Raiden, and Fujin from Mortal Kombat as one of the references.
It's Raiden.
Raiden.
Yeah.
So Raiden is the pronunciation he gets for Mortal Kombat.
Raiden is a Metal Gear Solid character.
Yes.
Also on the topic of Chinese mythology, actually, Mortal Kombat actually surprisingly has a very, very weird. Actually, does do a lot of Chinese representation, surprisingly, in terms of its setting. Because ranging from the designs of the characters to some of their names, actually, Sub-Zero and actually the most iconic characters are ninjas, but one is just Chinese and the other is Japanese.
Yep.
But the one that's Chinese is my favorite. It's Sub-Zero.
Yep. Yeah, and so.
But only the earlier games. We do not talk about the NetherRealm games.
I was about to
So now on to so I'm gonna reverse the order now. Oh, the bad interpretation of Hinduism.
Hold on, before Melody, what were you just about to say?
I was going to say that another Chinese and Hindu equivalent mixture was Yama, a famously well-known god or lord of death, and also in Chinese interpretation, it rules the Yellow River. It belongs into the Buddhist kind of section when it comes to both Hindu and Chinese mythology. Yama is also depicted as a buffalo-headed kind of god as well.
Sounds Egyptian, actually.
Well, the thing about the gods in Hindu is that they both have multiple heads,
Multiple arms and heads, yes.
multiple arms and heads, and also animal heads.
The Egyptians also got their own fair share of animal-headed gods,
Yeah,
too.
of course.
Yeah.
That's why Hindu and Egyptian sometimes get mixed up by accident because of how similar some things can be.
Yeah. All the art I've seen of Hindu has had them have multiple heads and multiple arms, so I know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Hey, so talking about the bad, I have to talk about Raji.
Wait. I'm gonna change the music right quick to.
Oh no.
Oh great. I love all the music anyway. So.
That's right, one. Let me see.
Oh, what is this rant mode?
It is literally defined as rock.
Alright, so
How many music variants are going to go through?
Please.
yeah, can we just
Okay, there you go. There, I picked one.
Alright, so Raji is a top-down action game that is based on Hindu mythology. You play as a girl who is led by Durga and Vishnu. Them constantly talking to you. And your goal is to rescue your brother from a demon who Durga defeated. I think it's supposed to be like a reference to the buffalo-headed one that Durga is famous for taking out. And so the whole plot is that you're searching for your brother and rescuing him. You do that. And then the story, you think the ending is that your main character defeats the bad guy before he gets to heaven, which the story is about preventing him not to. And guess what happens?
Yes, you don't stop him whatsoever.
Yeah, your brother ends up being part of his ploy, which was obvious was what was going to happen to him. Because how easy you got him before the ending. And then the game literally ends. After that, it ends.
I'm going to repeat a clip I have to best sum up the ending. Mind?
Sure.
Perfectly passable storytelling. I won't lie, there were moments that dragged, but you really got me with that ending.
Yeah, in a bad way. It was such a colossal screw up. And it's like, it did teach me about some mythology on Hindus. I forgot about them, but I bet if I review it, I will tell you about the cool mythology bits. But overall, it's not a fun, good story at all. Like it doesn't do what if anybody ever watched or to the lectures of Brandon Sanderson's, like he talks about, for one, talking about expanding the ending. So you have like your ending, your twist at the end is you're expanding it. Much like in the original Star Wars, is like, oh, they not only rescued the princess, but they stopped the Empire from destroying the rebel base. Or he uses examples in his first book where it's like, oh, it would be nice if these crooks takes down this evil empire. End of the book. They do it. Like it's a good surprise, but not in this one. No. This indie project had to do a sequel bait.
Honestly, it's kind of always a bad idea to sequel bait. It's always a bad idea because you may never know what may happen.
Like, it's either sequel baits or they wanted it to make an ambiguous ending. Both are stupid in different ways.
In the case of the sequel bait, the following can any happen. 1, you don't sell well enough and they decide to cancel any future products. 2, you go through serious health issues and you can't write anymore. Or 3, sudden death.
Yep.
Which leads into the always have notes. So if anybody else continues your story, they can read your notes and continue it.
Yeah, and but yeah, it was a frustrating experience because of that. Like, I was having sort of fun. It was okay up there, but then that ending. Oh boy. And like, in terms of mythology, it definitely got me interested into, at one point, looking further into it. So I'll give the game that. That will be the only thing I'll give the game.
Okay, but you would recommend it to. But you would recommend it to no one.
Yes. Overall, no one should play. Play Raji, an ancient epic. It's not epic. It's a slog.
It's the opposite of an epic. It's a depic. Okay. Anything else?
I don't really have.
Like,
I never played any games or read any books. Only Crash Course. Thank Mike Rugnetta from Crash Course to discuss about Indian pantheons and stuff.
Yeah, like, the thing about, in terms of, like, it's not as accessible. I bet if I was looking into like a Bollywood, I bet I will have a better time looking for examples. But I don't watch Bollywood movies. Like, they don't. So yeah, I'm out of luck on that. So.
Though if you ever get a movie on the Hindu gods themselves, I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
they're cool people.
I would like an American adapt, maybe like something to get ported over.
Are you sure you want to say American adaptation after how many times they ruined Japanese?
Okay.
That's why I corrected myself.
Apparently,
Don't forget
I
that right now Hollywood has that, we're gonna take this and make it different, which means worse.
I'm gonna cycle on back to what I stated previously. If it's live action, any kind of adaptation, it is guaranteed to be bad. Because what it isn't.
At least if it's the Japanese, then you can assume that they're going to be as faithful to the source material as it's possible, so that the complaints are not they changed this for no reason.
Yeah.
And so yeah, really, we're gonna have to wait for somebody else to hopefully make like a story that people can appreciate.
Yeah.
At least just let the Indian people handle it. Don't let the Americans handle it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised though that they have already done it. It's just that it's in its own genre, in its own culture.
We see we're all Americans here, and we're probably too dumb enough, and we're probably dumb that we don't know another genre that possibly exists.
That's true.
like if there is any Indian listeners in the future, drop a comment to see how if it is a common thing in India to do that. Make an adaptation.
It would be appreciated.
Yeah, we very appreciate. Would love to see some Hindu mythology correction adaptations.
Also,
Yeah.
also check out my OnlyFans. It's only 5 cents for one picture, I swear.
Couldn't say that for the end, did you?
Huh?
I thought this was the end.
Yeah, we basically covered.
To say.
Yeah, because unfortunately,
Buddhism was next after Hinduism.
Well, yeah.
Actually, you forgot one thing.
Buddhism.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Dun 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 dun.
I'm remembering this.
Oh
You're the leader here, Wolf.
I wasn't remembering this. I had stated it, and I knew what was coming next. It was everybody else here that was a dum-dum.
Right. And
Right.
I was trying to correct Ninja here by informing him that there's one more topic left to cover.
Yep.
There is everybody else here that assumed that you talked about everything else.
Alright, but so let's...
Oh, Jesus, and I have a short attention span.
Come on.
Alright, so...
Buddhism.
I did not do enough research on Buddhism. Only on
To be fair,
Hinduism.
to be sure, I don't think like one person here has done any more substantial research into Buddhism.
Well, I know some things about Buddhism. Like, Buddhism is essentially,
Hinduism for hippies?
well, sort of. Like, technically, you could be a Buddhist and a Hindu. It's like, they made it compatible.
It's also compatible with Shintoism, I believe.
Yes.
The fact that Shintoism and Buddhism was pretty much nearly indistinguishable in other Japan is... Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not, like, completely obscure or, like, different. But, like, the biggest tale in terms of mythology, actual tale, other than, like, the tales of Buddha, and, like, is Journey to the West, because the Buddha plays a major part in that. Like, the whole plot is essentially a monk who is like the chosen one to bring the teachings of Buddha from like China to another part of the world. I wasn't sure exactly where, but like that's the whole plot. And it's all the shenanigans that happens during the way of various people groups trying to kill this kid, and all the blood, sweat, and tears that his companions have to do to drag him out of various situations.
Yeah.
Which may or may not be partially their fault. A lot of the times.
As I remember, Sun Wukong was always getting into fights.
Yeah, that's the entire thing about monkeys and Eastern mythology.
Oh yeah, they get into fight, and they're also OP. Like in the Rama, an army of monkeys is equal to an army of demons.
Okay. Hang on. I have just a banner I want to play. Hang on.
Again, I feel I need to bring up Dragon Ball, but
Oh my
Christopher,
Like Dragon Ball started off as like a parody of Journey to the West, but then it just evolved into its own thing.
Yeah.
Which is why it's very well beloved how it evolved. But yeah, in terms of accurate mythology,
Kung Fu Panda?
there's
Kung Fu Panda. that, but I don't think so.
Wait, you haven't seen Kung Fu Panda?
I was never interested in Kung Fu Panda.
It's actually
my goodness.
It's actually quite a great series. It's actually quite a great trilogy of films.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a pretty
but I
good
was-
martial arts kind of inspiration.
But
Yeah,
it never piqued my interest. Is what happened.
I am about
Yeah,
fat
I
panda
recommend
named
watching the
Bo
first
Eater.
one.
the first and second, all three of them are great. The second one is the greatest out of all of them.
I only watched the first one, and it's very good. So
Anyway,
I
it
watched
actually
first
touches
and
more
second.
upon. It actually touches more upon. It touches upon like a lot of things. Like the first one is Confucianism versus Taoism. And it's actually all about there's work that they're, and it's well, actually it's one of the conflicts of the first movie is Confucianism versus Taoism, strict rigidity versus find your own way, and that there is no guiding force. There is just simply go with the flow. Things happen because they are meant to. There are no accidents.
Huh. I'm sorry you're still not drumming up interest from me.
Well, I'm kind of the worst person to ever try and get people to anything.
But maybe one day you'll
It's
understand.
It's just not my thing. So
Yeah, it's all, and that's fine. If it's not your thing, that's fine.
mhm.
So, more about Buddhism. Getting distracted about Taoism and Confucianism.
Yeah, we'll cover Taoism
there's-
another time.
There is a correlation between Hinduism and Buddhism when it comes to enlightenment, but in different ways of attaining enlightenment. As Ninja has said, moksha is enlightenment, while nirvana for Buddhism is enlightenment. However, to attain this enlightenment in Hinduism, the cycle of rebirth and death is called samsara, and you attain enlightenment after your soul had its fill of earthly experiences and pleasure, which connects to the word kama, which is love, sexuality, sensuality, and pleasure, as well as artha, one's career, home life, and material wealth. With Buddhism, you attain nirvana after another cycle of suffering and rebirth, except it's attained pretty much. It's not a various. It's not a a series like Hinduism of a cycle rebirth, but it's after one single life. I'm trying to remember how it actually went for Buddhism, because with Hinduism, it is a constant cycle going through continuous many lives and to have your soul have its fill, while with Nirvana, you can attain enlightenment in one life or through many.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And shockingly enough, we managed to get this all done without going over 2 hours.
Well,
Yeah,
I would say this as a commentary on like the problem with Eastern mythology. You have like two extremes. So you have Shintoism, right, where it's everywhere in like various media, mostly Japanese media. That it's quite hard to give specific examples, and also the mythologies themselves are very broad. They're not like there's not like specific stories. Like last week we talked about a lot about Zeus's shenanigans, or like there's
Hercules or Odysseus,
Yeah.
or
like there are a lot of tales, but they're always like more specific. They're always
They're always individual. You're always unique to that specific mythology.
yeah, and like specific people that doesn't really have names or stuff, and there's no like there's a few sagas as opposed to in the West.
As well, except for Egyptian mythology, as we all described it as superhero comic books, except it kept contradicting itself.
And because Egypt keeps erasing history.
But, well, superhero comics do that too now.
Well,
they always did that. They always did. They always
in
contradicted
different
each other.
ways.
Yeah.
But let's just say I have problems.
So then, I guess because we have the time, we can get these 2 more mythologies out the way.
I honestly, we can. I think if we're doing like Mesopotamian mythology, I want to wait for. I want to have like its own topic with more.
I mean particularly Eastern.
Like which one?
Taoism.
Okay. Alright then. So, the banner on screen is pretty much the motto of Taoism. It's the way. The things happen because they are meant to. There are no accidents, there are no mistakes. Everything happens because they're meant to. That is the philosophy of Taoism in a sense. But it's also a whole nother deeper thing on top of that. See, Taoism actually originates as a concept, ironically enough, from Confucianism. Because Lao Tzu, the person that founded Taoism as a concept, he was a student of Confucianism. And then he...
yes. Okay, I know.
Yeah, and then
Taoism.
and then he did this. So Taoism is unique in a sense that it's against what was the structure of China at the time, which was Confucianism. He believed that, in this concept, is that there is no structure holding you back. You are destined for things that you may not be aware of. But you should not try to control a destiny that you cannot comprehend. And things will happen in a way that it will lead you to your path. It is the way you follow, because Taoism literally means, actually Tao, the Tao part of that, literally means way. If you follow Taoism, you literally follow the way. You know the way.
Do you know the way?
Do you know the way?
You know, it's also... So, also a fun church history fact. In Acts, it's recorded that that Christians was given by outsiders. What people called themselves in the inside was the way, followers of the way. So yeah, back even in like ancient Rome, do you know the way?
Do you know the way? Yeah, people were following the way for a long time, but because of the nature of Taoism, though, it actually leads into a whole nother concept called cultivation. That's a whole nother topic.
I was actually afraid to bring that up because I know nothing about it except through fanfic.
Yeah, cultivation is a very strange concept, and it's one that will take you all of your remaining lifespan to understand.
Yeah, it's like I've heard about the original fiction that cultivation comes from, and it sounds like every single person in those books are dicks.
It's all about
no one's likable. It sounds like.
It's like the best way to describe how cultivation works is you attune yourself to inner peace and ascend. It's strange. It's like, technically speaking, this is a concept covered in Avatar: The Last Airbender, but it was a full other different thing. That's actually tying into the chakras thing, which is more Hindu, which is actually more Hindu. But when it comes down to cultivation, it's such a strange topic that I can't talk. That I won't even pretend to know anything about.
Yeah.
Because I am telling the truth here. It is a concept. It is a topic that nobody really comprehends. It's like they know the basis, but it's one that nobody fully comprehends. They just know the basis of how it works, but not really everything apart it. That's why I say, if you want to learn about how the cultivation and how it works, it's going to take you your entire lifespan. But theoretically speaking, Taoism is all about Feng. It's particularly touching on the Feng Shui in the field. you. Essentially, you wouldn't want to live in a room where things directly oppose your nature. You want to live in a room where things are of your nature. It's such a strange thing with Taoism. Taoism has always been like a weird thing in China as well. Oh, when I mentioned the Yellow Turban Belly, this is the reason why. It's because this is one of the few times I can think of when Taoism made this much noise in history. When during the end of the Han Empire, so the Han Dynasty, peasants were suffering all across the land. A man known as Zhang Zhu, who was a healer in a village, and saw the suffering of the people, and he found a series of books on the way. And people called him a magician because he showed off these great things that he could possibly do. He and his two brothers then talked and then decided that they would wear yellow to represent the yellow heaven, and because yellow was a peasant color, the yellow heaven is the right way. And the Empire's lost the mandated heaven, and so they must replace the azure heaven with the yellow heaven, which ties into the yellow dragon, which is the center force. And then, needless to say, they had the right idea, but then you get to the problem that the Yellow Turbans were kind of assholes. You're like, oh yeah, there were peasants that were fighting for other peasants, but if you didn't agree with them, they burn your shit down to the ground.
Yeah.
So Tuesday.
Actually, that sounds rather familiar, doesn't it?
It does.
Strange how these things come around.
It's like peasant rebellions surprisingly peasant rebellions never really are for the peasants, now are they?
I guess not.
And then the Yellow Turbans technically saw a bit of an increase towards the end of the Han, particularly which is like a decade later, with the following people: Huang Shao, Gong Du, and He Yi, which is the only three people I really know of. But they weren't really any better. They weren't, because they were just bandits that had a cause. But they were just that. They were just bandits that were looking for a cause to fight for, and they thought, why not fight for Yellow Turban? Whether they actually genuinely believed in the Yellow Turban cause and what it meant is something that's lost to history, because this was well over 2 millennia ago. Actually, it's not 2 millennia ago, but it is nearly 2 millennia old.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that old bit of history with the Yellow Turbans, but to say the Yellow Turbans won, they would overthrow the Emperor and establish the Yellow Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, I don't know fully about the entire history of what Taoism has been up to, and particularly how the Chinese people react towards Taoism. I know a few cases of extreme brutality against them, but I don't know fully whether this means that the entirety of China were against Taoism because they come off as kind of mystics and dicks, or they were very misunderstood, or they were pretty much the Christians to the Buddhist.
So yeah, anything else?
What about Korean?
About chakras.
I don't know jack about Korean mythology, unfortunately.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, then I guess fine, we'll do chakras.
You did mention it, and it's a very famous healing meditation kind of thing for everybody around the world.
And you can do ninja moves, apparently.
Yeah, chakras are related to also a bit of when it comes to martial arts, but mostly that's also connected to chakras and Reiki.
There's multiple stuff on life forces in the goddamn Eastern mythology sphere.
Yeah.
Because you can't settle on one thing. There's so much.
What does India say? Chakra. What does China say? Chi.
Yeah.
And then you also got Reiki. Well, I guess it must be Japanese. Yes, it's Japanese.
Why can't they make up your goddamn mind?
Well, it's different countries, different religions, different everything.
I'm gonna invite I'm gonna try to make a time, get the people who come up with these concepts, put them in a room together, and then make them all kill each other. Whoever wins gets to go back to their time.
How about no? We're not looking for another Mayan, Aztec sacrificial religion for all that.
Please, no.
I'm joking. Besides, it was to see which ideal won.
Somehow I'm slightly doubting it. But
so you wanted an epic rap battle of history?
Maybe. You know, actually, that's much less lethal. It saves me the blood. It saves me cleaning out the blood.
I have a few things come to mind when I think of chakras and things like that. Well, there's Naruto, which calls their energy chakra.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, it doesn't just heal, it does a whole bunch of things, but...
It allows me to shoot fire out my ass.
Out of your mouth.
Anyway, and Reiki actually does belong to a few anime martial arts based kind of shows as well. Chakras are a fundamental life energy to the human body. Chakra originated from the Sanskrit, which is the Hindu scriptures as well as epic poems. And it mostly belongs to South Asia in the classical language of Sanskrit. It translates to literally meaning wheel, associated with various neurological and psychological that connects to the spiritual of the human body. There are 7 chakras in total. You got the purple chakra, which is the crown, the blue chakra, that's the third eye, the light blue chakra, that's the throat, the green chakra of the heart, the yellow chakra of the solar plexus, the the orange chakra, that is the sacral, and then the final one is red, and it's the root. There's sometimes one chakra is much more powerful in a particular human than the others. Like for me, the crown chakra is my strongest one because I'm very imaginative. And the root one is my second most powerful, as I am... What was the root one again?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Actually, I take that back. The root one is not my second one. That's my third one, actually. My second one is actually the heart. Because I'm really passionate. And referring back to the Reiki, they're in common because, again, it relates to energy and the human flow. When one is blocked, it causes an imbalance throughout the body, mostly, as they say. So it's important to actually have all of them clear, clean, and circling throughout your body. Just like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like a small little creek. If one thing is blocked, everything else is pretty much blocked.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think we can all universally agree Avatar: The Last Airbender is probably not the best they've seen in this sense of.
When it comes to chakra, you might as well look to The Last Airbender.
You might as well just watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, period. So then.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Does anyone else have anything else to say?
I don't think so.
If that's the case, then. Alright, I actually think I forgot about to tell an interesting tale about Genbu.
Okay.
We can save that.
Okay, I guess I'll save it for another time then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, we just hit the 2-hour mark. Congratulations to us all.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
please.
managed.
Oh, please. This is the luxury I had. And I haven't even barely done it to my hours. I'm planning on... I'm gonna find some way to get back into the rhythm and start murdering them. I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna take them out back.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more to say on the American mythologies.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. This is the one area where we are not as knowledgeable as we'd like to be.
Well, this series wouldn't exist if we were covering stuff that we were completely and utterly unfamiliar with.
All right. Well, does that mean we have to do actual research?
Yes.
I said nothing of the sorts.
I was actually doing a little bit of research while we were talking, so
I've been doing the same thing as we were talking as well.
You guys did your homework?
Yes, we did.
Man, that's the main host of the show.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I best host, because I don't do it.
Oh my god!
I either learn it. Listen. It's a unique concept I do. It's called winging it. It's something I do.
Vishnu, give me strength.
Yes. You see, when I rolled my character. When I rolled my character. You see, when I rolled my character, I actually rolled pretty high on wisdom. And it was probably...
High whiz, low int.
It's fine.
No, I'm right. High whiz, low int.
It's fine. Listen, a 10's fine. It's just average.
A 10 is bad.
Actually, it's average. It's when you get below 10 has become a problem.
It depends if you want to become a wizard.
Well, I'm an insane druid, okay?
Anyway,
theoretically.
next time we'll definitely talk about the American mythologies, mostly, I believe, pertaining to the monsters and possibly, maybe the heaven mandates of America with the angels and the demons and stuff.
Yeah, we will cover biblical mythology another time.
Yes.
It's still American.
And I say we cover biblical.
In Europe.
Biblical?
It's actually originally from the Middle East.
Yeah.
And
all the Abrahamic religions actually are technically descended one way or another from Judaism.
Yep.
There's a reason why it's the oldest of every one of the religions. It's because it was the very first Abrahamic.
Yep. That's
It
mine.
was the first to actually get sources, though, wasn't it?
Huh?
No, it was so essentially, Judaism came first. They got all the Old Testament together.
Yeah.
And then Christianity came out.
The sequel.
Was the superior sequel. And then
I cannot believe you.
Okay, I'm sorry, man, but hold on right there. You see, I'm fine with Christians and all that, but you are offending me right now. How dare you?
Yeah, whatever.
You said it's around 2 Jews, man. What the fuck?
Then why did I say Hindu's the oldest?
There's actually...
It's complicated.
It's weird, because there's actually multiple religions. Just the oldest monotheistic religion I think there is Zoroastrianism.
I never even heard of that before.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it comes from Persia.
Yeah, it's super old. Where do you think... Actually, hang on. Neff, Mama, do you know where Angramayu comes from?
No!
That's the root of all evil, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's all the evil of the world. That's a Zoroastrian concept.
That's Persian then.
Yeah.
It's actually because of the names. It's because of the names. It's Angramayu, but it's Ahriman. But yes, all the world's evil. That's a Zoroastrian concept. And
yep.
It is,
so
Zoroastrianism is much older than Judaism.
Yep. And
But Judaism is one of the oldest monotheistic religions.
Yep.
It's one of the old. Yes, but yes. Then you have Islam. See, theirs mostly starts the same, but it diverges based upon.
No, theirs is based on the M word. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say the M word. We all know what M word I'm referring to.
I'm gonna. I will. Don't worry. I can explain all the stuff.
We'll
That'll be another day.
We'll talk about when we do biblical mythologies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because technically speaking, Biblicism is a mythology in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Technically.
It's a technical mythology. Which.
All right, let's end the show.
So yeah, welcome. Yes, thank you to Demonica. Thank you, Neff Champion. Thank you,
No
Ninja.
problem.
Hopefully, people were not bored of us.
Yes. Oh, please, I have a boring voice.
Well, nobody commented, so how the hell are we supposed to know?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because we really did this kind of late.
Yeah.
People were extremely busy this day of all days.
Yep.
But I gotta say, this thing did kind of drag, but
Perfectly passable storytelling. I won't lie, there were moments that dragged, but you really got me with that ending. Now, let's settle up. Time for you to help me against Typhon.